Hey Care Bears, welcome back to my channel. What I thought we'd do today is go through my purchase history from 2019. Not necessarily going to talk about everything, because we'd be here a while, but just sort of highlighting the best and the worst, as it were. I cannot for the life of me remember what I bought this year, what I bought 2017. Like, I have no concept of time, so when I'm trying to do like an annual favorites, it's really difficult because I don't know if I bought a certain palette this year or if I bought it 2 or 3 years ago. So I figured this way, at least I know that what I'm talking about I purchased in the year 2019. So I've got it opened up on my computer, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my laptop, and I'm just going to start in January. And it looks to me that I waited until January 10th before I placed my first order. It's only 10 days into the new year, but yay on me. Looking at that, there is one item to talk about in particular, and it is from Charlotte Tilbury, and it is the Feline Flick Liquid Liner. I don't like this. I should have returned it. It was $38, and I don't like it. It is a felt tip brush. I'm not necessarily opposed to a felt tip brush, but where I don't like them is when they dry out almost instantly upon being opened. And that happens with this one. And then I find that I can't get a smooth line with it because it gets sticky on top of itself. So as I'm trying to build up the line, it's kind of like bumping along what product has already been laid down. So I don't know why I kept it. Presumably because I returned one of the other items that I purchased. I purchased a YSL limited edition lipstick that had like hearts with arrows through them, and when I used it, the lipstick broke off the very first time I used it, so I returned it. But this one I should have returned because I don't get a ton of use out of it, and it was $38. Another purchase that I made in January was the Mini Lust Gloss Trio from Pat McGrath. And I got it with the Skin Show Nudes. So it had Flush 4, Temptation, and Flush Fantasy in it. And while 2 out of the 3 I could really take or leave, Flush Fantasy became a fast favorite. And I did repurchase the full size when I got through the mini. And it's just such a beautiful gloss. It is expensive. It's $30 some odd for the full size. But it's just so nice. It has a nice doe foot applicator. It's slightly curved, so I find that it's really easy for application purposes. It's a thick enough gloss that it doesn't just instantly disappear, but it's not so thick that it's gloopy and sticky. It's just smooth to apply. It's got a nice amount of pigmentation. Obviously, this is a very nude shade, but it does show up on my lips. It's incredibly comfortable to wear, and I just adore this lipstick or this lip gloss. So that was one of my best purchases for sure of 2019. A blush purchase that I made that I was pleasantly surprised by was from the brand Incredible, and it is one of their for the first time cream blushes, or bounce blushes as they're called. They sell for $14 Canadian, and they are, like I said, a cream blush. This shade in particular is called Be My First Kiss, and it's just this beautiful sort of burnt apricot kind of color, and I just am very impressed. It's so hard to get your finger in it there though when you're wearing fake nails. I'm very impressed with the pigmentation of these blushes. I have this shade and I have one other, sort of a more rosy pink shade, but they also just blend so easily and so nicely. They don't leave any sort of tackiness on the skin, and they do have good longevity, particularly for being cream blushes, but I just find that they're really easy to use. I find sometimes with cream blushes, the color just kind of locks in the minute you set it onto your skin, and it's really hard to blend it out, or it just looks somehow unnatural. The color is oversaturated or something. There's just something weird about them sometimes, and these ones are not. They, like I said, blend beautifully while still leaving like a natural looking flush to the skin. So For $14 at Sephora, they're probably one of the least expensive items there, but they're so good. I was really happy with this one. In April, I purchased the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Setting Spray. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was $35 and I did use it all up, but I didn't find it to be particularly luminizing or dewy. It was just a setting spray. In fact, it reminded me very, very much of MAC Fix Plus. The packaging was basically the exact same in terms of like the spray mechanism. The feel of it on my skin felt the same and the finish looked the same. I really didn't notice anything to do with dewiness as a result of that setting spray. Sometime around that same time, I also purchased this setting spray from the drugstore, and this is the Physicians Formula Rosé All Stay Illuminating Setting Spray. This is the one that I would repurchase over and over again, and I would not repurchase the ABH. This one really does add that luminosity to your skin that you might be looking for if you're in the market for a dewy setting spray. You do have to shake this one really well because it does have like a luminizing residue, I guess, at the bottom, but it's not glittery. It doesn't, I'm sure somewhere in here it'll show up. Is it Bare Minerals? I tried their version of the dewy setting spray. I can't remember what it's called. If I come across it, I'll fill it in. But that one, like, you would spray it and it would leave like little white marks, like just like sort of concentrated dots of pigment on your skin. This one does not do that. If you don't shake it, it will, but if you shake it, you have no issues. It also smells divine. If you don't like the smell of rose, clearly you're not going to like this, but this is one, it's like the best setting spray at the drugstore, in my opinion. If you like a matte setting spray, obviously this is not going to work for you, but this is what I would recommend over the ABH. At the same time that I purchased that setting spray, I also redeemed points again for another $100 gift card. So I can see my order that came right after that one. And in there, I did splurge on a Charlotte Tilbury item here. This is the contour wand, and it sells for $50 Canadian. So it chewed up half of the gift card, but good investment. I love this product. It is a cream contour. It just has like, it's actually kind of gross, to be honest. I don't really like the little spongy tip thing, but the product itself is so beautiful. It goes on looking like alarmingly dark on my skin, but it blends out effortlessly. Like, I don't need to sit there and really scrub around at my skin to get this to blend out. I can like contour everywhere that I need to and then blend, and it won't dry down. It's just, it's lovely. And then once it is blended out, it does dry down, and it's not sticky and it's not tacky on the skin. I guess those would be the same things, but you hear where I'm coming from. It's just a really nice product, and it is one that I do think I would repurchase despite the hefty price tag. In that same order, I also purchased one of the bronzers from Fenty. So this is the Sunstalker bronzer in the shade Into Sun, which is, I believe, the lightest option that they have. So it's just a very nice light bronzer, which works really well on my skin tone. It is a bit deeper than, say, Hoola Light, but I just find this one really easy. It's not too orange based, it's not too warm. It blends really nicely. The powder itself is quite smooth. It's just a really, really nice bronzer. I can see on here that I also ordered a sample of the Kat Von D Go Big or Go Home mascara, and I was thoroughly underwhelmed by that. I think I used it maybe 5-6 times, hoping that it would actually work for me, but it did not. So I do remember decluttering that one because it just was useless, basically. It wasn't a good mascara. Also in April, I purchased the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer. And I had let some of the hype die down because this was one of those products that, like, it was quite obvious when the PR packages had arrived because instantly everybody was talking about this concealer. And to that point, I hadn't really heard many people really talking about First Aid Beauty, certainly not any of their actual complexion products. So I was a little sketchy about that. However, it lived up to the hype. I Love this concealer. It has only been replaced very recently by the Milani Conceal and Perfect, which that has quickly become my absolute favorite concealer, but this is a very good second place. I have it in the shade 3, which, does it say on here? Light, for beige, sand to light skin. So, works for me. I just really like it because it doesn't crease. It is quite nourishing underneath the eyes and it feels rather moisturizing. It does have a good amount of coverage, although I wouldn't go so far as to say it's full coverage, but it is still good coverage. And I'm looking for good to full because I've got some serious dark circles going on, but this is one that I have really enjoyed using. Moving on to May, one of the first purchases I made was for this oil from Herbivore. This is the Emerald Cannabis Sativa Hemp Deep Moisture Glow Oil. This retailed for $63 for a full ounce. It doesn't look like I've made like any headway in it, and that's because I have a deluxe size sample of it that I'm still working on. A little bit goes a long way, but I love this. Like, I've never really been into oils on my skin simply because they always feel weird and I just don't like the texture of them on my skin. This one, however, I use it at night instead of like a moisturizing cream. I use this. It sinks in quickly, and in the morning my skin feels amazing. Like, my skin is so soft, it's so well hydrated, but it doesn't like clog anything up. It doesn't just feel heavy on my skin. Like, it's such a nice product. I also have their Bakuchiol the Bakuchiol Retinol Alternative Smoothing Serum. So that's the deluxe size that I have in that one. And this is one that once I finish this, I would invest in buying the full size of as well, because again, it just feels so nourishing on my skin. And I don't talk a lot about skincare on my channel simply because it takes a lot to impress me when it comes to skincare. I don't have particularly finicky skin, so I tend not to see the results of skincare items. Whereas with these products, I really do feel and see the difference in my skin with them. I placed a couple of orders throughout the year for the Kaja Beauty Bento Bouncing, holy crap, what is the name of this? The Kaja Beauty Bento Bouncy Shimmer Eyeshadow Trio. That's a mouthful. Anyways, they're like 3 little stacks. They kind of look like the melt stacks, but smaller. And I don't have them to show you because I depotted all of them. I took the shadows out and put them in my magnetic cases just so that I had more likelihood of actually using them. They are so nice. They're so nice. It's just when I have these like little stacks of what are basically individual shadows, I just never end up reaching for them. Hence, I depotted them and put them into my actual magnetic palettes. But they are so nice, and they came out after this initial one. So this I ordered in May, but they came out subsequent to that with some that included some matte shadows. So good. Top notch. So good. Under the category of I don't know why I didn't return it is this mascara from Laura Mercier. This is the Caviar Volume Mascara. I bought it for $33 Canadian. And I'd like to have those $33 back. This is just such a meh mascara. It really doesn't do anything. The wand is a little weird. Like, it's got like a little bit of a spiral going on with it, I guess. I do like that it's like the regular bristle kind of wand, but it just doesn't do anything. Like, it doesn't add volume, it doesn't lengthen, it doesn't really lift them. It just kind of coats my lashes and that's about it. So I guess I can't say that it doesn't add volume. It adds a little bit just through the effort of coating my lashes, but it's for $33, I want to be impressed. This does not impress me. In fact, there are drugstore options that are far more impressive than this one. Lash Paradise being one of them, CoverGirl Exhibitionist being another. This just was kind of a waste of money. We've now reached June and I see my birthday order. I had received some gift cards for my birthday and I remember having a ton of fun just building my cart and really deciding what it was that I wanted to order. And of the items that I did pick up, there are 2.5 standouts. So One of them is the Velour Lashes Lash Glue, and I got mine in clear or white. It is a latex-free glue. It was $16. When I apply it to the band, you're probably not gonna be able to see on here, but when I apply it to the band, it has like a bluish kind of color to it, like a creamy blue, but then it dries clear, and I like that. I've used black glue in the past. I like the clear better. It's a little bit less of a liability. The black glue that I do have is from Revlon, and it's a very good glue, but if it touches anywhere in your eyeshadow, that black is there to stay, and it's also a beast to remove. This one holds lashes all day. I don't wear lashes very often. I feel like with this look I probably should be wearing lashes, but we're just gonna roll with what we've got going on here. However, in the past I've used Duo. I don't like Duo. First of all, it smells like a fish that's been sitting out in the sun for like 5 days. Can't get on board with that. I don't like that it's a squeezy tube. And also, I just don't find that it's very effective. So I will wear lashes, go to the mall, one of my lashes pops up. God damn. This one, however, it's got the brush, so it's very precise, very easy to apply. I don't notice any odor with this, and it holds my lashes in place regardless of how long I'm wearing them for. So this one was definitely a win. The other item that I picked up that I was really impressed with is another mascara. This one is from Hourglass. This is the Caution Extreme Lash. This retails for $36, so only $3 more than the Laura Mercier. Way better. I had had a deluxe size sample of this and knew that I was going to repurchase it basically after the first time wearing it. It's so good. Again, it has like that regular bristle kind of wand to it, but it's just so volumizing, so lifting, so beautiful that this is the one that I would invest my money in. That Laura Mercier one is just useless. Moving on to July. In July, I placed a purchase for a Kat Von D item. This is the Inkwell Longwear Matte Eyeliner, and it was on sale from $25 down to $8. I picked it up because it was on such a discounted price, and because it was white, and I thought, it's summertime, maybe white liner is going to play a role somewhere in eye looks. This is such a terrible liner. Such a terrible liner. It is dry as hell. It's so incredibly hard to work with. It does not apply smoothly. Again, it's got like a felt tip sort of applicator thing here, and then the liner's in the little inkwell, I guess. But it's so hard to like load up, and even now, like I put it in, I bring it out, and there's hardly any product on the applicator, and I've used it like 3 times. Like it shouldn't be that dry. So either I got a dud, or it's been sitting in a warehouse for years and that's why it's on sale, or it's just a shitty product. I don't know. Either way, I don't like it. It was $8, so I can't get too bent out of shape about it, but useless. By contrast, in August, I purchased the liquid liner from ABH, and it is so good. I really hope that they will come out with different colors of this. Right now, all they have is black. It's $24. Again, felt tip liner, but you get a ton of product on there, and basically I just like wipe it off on the lip of the tube, I guess. Applies so smoothly. I've never had any issues with it feathering or bleeding. I haven't had it like transfer up onto the upper part of my lids. It dries really quickly. It's just so nice to work with, and because it doesn't get sticky on top of itself, I find the precision is there, so even when I'm making a wing with it, I don't have any issues with it. It has a longer applicator, but there's a good amount of stiffness to it without it being like jabby stabby, if that makes sense. I'm sure it doesn't, because who says jabby stabby? Sometimes with felt tip applicators, if they're longer, they're just kind of like wiggling around and you can't get any precision out of it. Or sometimes they're so stiff that they almost like hurt when you're using it to apply the liner. This is the right balance between the two. Not jabby stabby. It's a win. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I'm prone to pooping all over Benefit in my new release videos in particular. Simply because they just tend to repackage their same existing products into like a new variety kit and market it as something new. And I can't with that. I just can't. All of their palettes are just like them reshuffling their existing cheap products, and it just makes me stabby. However, they finally did something right this summer. They released Cookie as a single highlighter. I would love to see them upgrade their packaging in 2020, but not holding out much hope. Cookie is possibly the best highlighter that I own. It is beautiful, like beautiful. It has like a hint of peachiness to it. I couldn't say that it was a pink highlighter. It is very much a champagne highlighter with just that like hint of peachiness just to make it a little bit warmer. It is so perfect. Like, it's so incredibly beautiful. It lasts really well throughout the day. It applies smoothly. It's just stinking incredible. This might be, honestly, one of my favorite purchases for 2019, at least from Sephora at any rate. I purchased 2 Pat McGrath palettes throughout the year, and they're both of the mini variety, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're inexpensive. So on the one hand, this one is more affordable for her line. This one's $38. And this is the Eye Ecstasy Eyeshadow Palette Mini in Sublime. And so what you're getting in there are all basically metallic finished shadows. And you can see that they are quite earthy in terms of their color story there. The other one is one of the 4-pan palettes that she put out, I want to say like September, October. I haven't come across it yet, but I figured I'm talking about Pat McGrath, I may as well do both in one shot. Okay, so this beast was like $88. I was returning some other items, and so I felt justified in picking this up because the money had already been spent. Okay, it's pretty, but it's not fantastic. Like, honestly speaking, my hand is dirty. I need to wash it. So there are the 4 shadows there. The only one that I really enjoy is this greenish one. This one's a close second, I guess, so maybe 2 out of 4. This over here, like, I can't even see it in the viewfinder, to be honest. And this purple is splotchy as hell. It was $88. That's $22 a pan? And 2 of them are underperforming. What? And again, I don't know why I kept it. I guess because I start feeling guilty about returning things, but at the same time, $88 where I only like half of it, I should have returned it. I really should have. Because I just don't see myself reaching for that gold or the purple, particularly where I have this one where this gold is much better. If I can do a swatch. Like, you can see the vibrancy of this gold versus this washed out bit of nothing really over here. September, mini gold from Natasha Denona. So good. So good. I have talked about this one quite a few times. I actually purchased one of these to do in my giveaway because I stand behind it. I just think it's so good. A lot of her minis don't perform nearly as well as her full-size shadows do. That is not the case with this palette in particular. I'm in love with the color story. I'm in love with the performance of it. I think it's a really intelligently put together set. Sometimes her 5-pan palettes are a little dubious in terms of the color story, where you have to bring in other shadows and things like that. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm a lazy bitch and I just want all of my shadows contained in one little palette, ideally. And this one gets it done. This is a grab and go palette. You don't have to think about how to pair the colors together. It just, whether you put all 5 or you just put 1 or 2 shadows on your eyes from here, it's gonna look bangin'. So this is one that, like, hop on board, especially if you're new to the Natasha Denona world. You're a little nervous about like dumping 170 bucks into one of her palettes. Totally get that. This one is 33 Canadian, and I think in the US it's like 25. So not cheap, but definitely a much more palatable price tag. A foundation that did like knock my socks off though is from Stellar Beauty. And this is the Limitless foundation. Yes, and it retails for $48, although it's on sale right now on the Sephora website for $24. Limited shades available at this point because it has been on sale for a while. I'm concerned that they might be discontinuing it simply because it's been on sale for so long, because it's so good. It's just such a nice foundation. It is like my perfect foundation. It's like medium coverage, it's got a natural finish, it's not matte, it's not dewy, it's not heavy, it's not runny. It's just like perfection in a bottle for what I'm looking for in a foundation. I will wear full coverage foundation, I will wear tinted moisturizer, but when I do want more coverage but still looking natural, like so if I'm going to, like if I have a bunch of meetings at work and I want to just look that much more polished, this is the one that I reach for because it just has that right balance for me. When I wear full coverage foundation, it's usually because I'm filming or maybe I'm going out somewhere, but for an everyday, like prolonged wear, particularly where I know I'm gonna have my makeup on for 8+ hours, this one stands up, it holds up, it is fantastic. Also, it has a pump, and I think this is like acrylic or plastic, so it's really quite lightweight as well and isn't gonna shatter if you drop it. It's just so good. It's so good. We're almost at the end here. We are at the beginning of November, and that is when Patrick Ta redeemed himself in my eyes. When he first came out with his Sephora launch, it was like a highlighting thing collection. He had this like ridiculously overpriced fan, and I went after him. Like I just was not on board with anything that he had released. November, however, or possibly October when he actually released them, but November when I purchased it, he put out blushes. And these are the Monochrome Moment Velvet blushes. I picked up the shade She's Passionate, and it's sort of like a peachy kind of pink, I guess, corally kind of shade. I don't know, you're looking at it, you tell me what it is. It's so good. It's so good. First of all, I love the packaging. I mean, yes, it shows every fingerprint, but it's got this beautiful like rose gold compact, just lifts up, there's a mirror, there's your blush, nice size pan, nothing extraneous, no additional unnecessary packaging. It's very sleek. Freaking love it. The shade of it is just beautiful on my skin tone. It is a very natural looking blush. It blends out beautifully, lasts throughout the day on my skin, and it just looks like a very natural flush of color. I suppose that would depend on what color I bought, but this one worked out perfectly for me. I am interested in one of the more pinky shades that he has as well. They're $40 each, so I don't feel I like necessarily need to invest in the other one, but I'm so happy that I purchased this one. The last purchase that I want to talk about was from the end of November, and that was for the Vita palette from Melt Cosmetics. I had already ordered the Morte palette, the lipstick trio, and one of the liners from the Melt Cosmetics website, and I knew that I just would regret not buying this palette if I didn't order it, so it was quicker to just order it from Sephora. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I did film this look. I am going to be doing a full review of all of the collection items that I have, so I don't want to go too far into it, but if you haven't seen the inside, if I can open it, there is what it looks like in there. It's just so bright and vibrant and fun, and the packaging is stellar. They murdered the packaging. It is so incredibly gorgeous. So look for this coming up soon. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to be posting this video, but this will probably go up after, would be my guess. Or maybe you've already seen it, who knows? I don't know. Anyways, those are some of the highs and lows for my purchases from Sephora this year. Obviously I didn't talk about everything, but I did want to put a spotlight on some of the best and some of the worst, in my opinion. I would love to hear from you in the comments what some of your favorite purchases of the year were, or what some of the duds were that you happened to pick up, because I think there's certainly value in shedding light on those products as well. And I thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.